Oh, wow. Thank you
Yeah,
so much, Anton. It's all right. I'm going to come to Sweden so I could learn that language right from you.
I know you will. Ah, so
All
who
right.
is
It's good
here?
to
It's
have
just
you.
you and I?
So far, yes, we're expecting others just now.
Okay, very good.
Let me make a phone call on. All right. So I think it's just good time for us.
Okay, so you're ringing now?
Yeah. Hello. Hope you are good. And I'm excellent. Yeah, we are on Zoom right now. All right. Thank you.
Who was that? Anton
That was Ayeshri.
Ah, okay. Wonderful.
Hi, Veronica. How are you? Okay, Dakis. All right. You're all welcome once again. I hope you could hear me loud and clear. Okay, maybe not loud, but clear.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome, everyone.
All right. Yep, yep. Okay, so we're welcome to day 2 of Get to Life Back workshop, and this time I hope you've printed either this or the second. Let me see. Oh, yeah. Okay. Or this. At least this. I hope
There's
you
something wrong with
have,
your audio.
or maybe you have a material to write things down. Today we have questions. Came up and then and learn.
Hello. Why am I host?
Okay, that was my network.
Oh,
That's that behavior. Well, it's learning to get better and better day after day. All right. So you're welcome once again to this day. And like I was saying, I believe there are questions that came up from yesterday immediately after, of course, my network behaved as smartly as it does. So we'll be having those questions sometime in today. Um, they're all welcome. And also questions that come up today, please, let's ask them. Then, and another thing I'd like to say is I hope you've printed this sheet so that we could actually take some notes down. So I would like you to kindly have a pen in your hand and then a piece of paper. Now, we have done section A, areas of identity, but we'll be looking at some of these things and reviewing them again. And we'll be looking at, we have section B. We'll be starting with that just today. But right before we go into section B, I want you to consider this idea. You could hear everything I've been saying all the way. You hear me, you hear what I'm saying.
Yes.
Good, thank you. And at the same time, simultaneously, you have some things that you could hear that I am not saying. And no one else on this earth is saying it, but somewhere inside of you. Is that correct? Like right now, you could hear distance. You could hear some words, some thoughts. Oh, did I use the word thoughts just now? But you could hear them, right? Good. So you hear what people say here, but at the same time, you hear what people say, oh, somewhere there inside of you that is not here, because no one else is saying it here. You're not using this your physical ears to hear them. Now, I can't say exactly where you are. You know where you are, but if you look at the environment where you are right now, and you look at it very well, you would also realize that you keep on seeing environments that are not the same environment as where you are right now. Somewhere there within you. It's sort of as if maybe you see things that will happen in the next 3 years, or maybe in the next 1 year, or maybe you're seeing things that have happened or that seemed to have happened some 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Maybe some things that actually happened yesterday. And then you go on wondering about it. You're like, wow, that happened. How could it have happened? Or that happened. That was amazing. It happened. Whichever way. The point is, aside the things that you see that are happening here on this level around you, you could also see things that are happening or that will happen, that have happened somewhere inside of you. You could hear things that I am not saying, though I'm speaking right now. Even the things that I say, you sort of hear them through the things that you are hearing that I am not saying. And then the things that you see, you actually see them through the things that you're seeing that are not actually here, right now. How about the things you feel? You could feel things that are not in your present environment. Let's say like flowers, but you're not in an environment where there are flowers, but you could feel as if flowers. Whenever you maybe see the picture of flowers, or you listen to this music and then it takes you back to some time in the past when you first heard it, or sometime in the past when you heard it with someone special or something that was going on specially. And then it feels like the first time, now that you're listening to that music again. So you could feel the environment, you could feel the touch, you could probably feel the taste. What we are looking at here is, it seems there's another part of you that is living in another world that is not entirely this world. There is a part of you that can see beyond what we see here, and that can hear even things that I am not saying, or things that I'm yet to say, or things that I will not even say. but then it can hear it. And it can speak, by the way. It really speaks to you and you listen to it. It shows you things and you see them. And it senses certain things and you feel them. So we're talking about a part of you that is integral to you so much, and it is functioning just as a man, as a human being. That part is the part that is the I. It is the imagination. And just like your body has various members of it that operate on different levels, the imagination has various members of it that operate on different levels. But that is the imagination. That is the real you. And that is what we call consciousness as well. Because, for instance, when I say, aside the things that I'm saying, there are things you could hear. There are things you actually use to filter what I'm saying. Things you hear to filter what I'm saying. That is an imaginal activity. And it is consciousness. It means you know something to be, or you know something to be true. It's an imaginal activity. Okay. I'd like to ask for a moment, please, just 1 minute. Let us contemplate on what we've shared so far in that 1 minute. We could also exchange.
Adeleri, is that a question that you just asked? Hello?
Hi.
Was that a question that you just asked? You want some feedback?
Oh, yeah, I actually took a minute. So I said, yeah, if you have a feedback, then that would be good.
Could you explain a little bit about what you just talked about the imagination of the I? I didn't get that quite well. Could you just explain that a little bit more?
All right. Okay, sure. So let's look at this. All the words that I'm saying right now, I want us to not just have an explanation. I want us to actually experience it within us. So take a moment to relax, whatever you may be doing. Doesn't mean you should stop doing whatever you do. Just relax and contemplate a little bit. So all the words that I'm saying right now, you could hear them with your physical ears. Agreed. That's why you're making responses. Now, simultaneously, you could hear things that I haven't said and no one is saying around you, but you hear them within you. Is that it? There is this outer speech. I'm making an outer speech right now. You could hear the speech I'm making. But at the same time, there's an inner speech going on inside of you. You could hear it. It could be your own voice, or it could actually be the voice of maybe other people, but you could hear an inner speech within you.
You're talking about inner dialogue.
Yes, the inner dialogue. Thank you.
The inner dialogue, yes.
Yeah, you hear an inner speech. So there's a listener, there's a speaker. That speaking is not a speaking that I am doing. And it's not even a speaking you're doing by moving your lips.
Yeah, exactly.
But we know, okay, yeah, you want to say something?
It's translating what you are saying as you're speaking. I'm translating it as I'm hearing it, and the inner voice is dissecting it in its own words, its own interpretation. Because if somebody tell you something, and then you take that and now you're going to tell somebody else, you don't say it exactly the same words. You put your own words in. You put your own feelings into it. That's what I experienced.
Ah, great. Very great. That is exactly what we're talking about here. That is exactly the being we are talking about. You see, because we know that every speech comes from saying it, right? And saying, at least for all the physical examples that we have, saying comes from using your mouth to say things.
Mhm.
Okay. So if you are hearing things within you, and I didn't say it, it is something within you that is saying it in his own words.
Yeah.
Okay. Then that means that thing has its own sort of mouth. Maybe you could say
Mm.
mouth that is speaking.
Yeah.
And it has its own sort of ears that could listen,
Mm.
that could hear, right? And at the
Mm.
same time, you look at your environment right now, but as you're looking at your environment, you're probably thinking of what dinner is going to look like tonight. Probably. I don't know what you're thinking of, but you know what you're thinking of. Whatever it is
Mm.
you're thinking of, you are seeing it simultaneously.
Yeah. True.
So you have these physical eyes that can see your environment physically right now.
Mm.
At the same time, you have the
Mm.
eyes that are seeing things
Mm.
that is not
Inwardly.
in your environment right now. Inwardly. Yeah, that's the
Mm.
So we have that inner being,
Mm.
that inner man, as people say, inner man is within us and is
Yeah.
actually us.
Mm.
Because, for instance, when it says something great that we agree with, we say, yeah, I like that. Or, for instance, when it says something is going to happen, and then that thing eventually happens, we say, oh, I know, I knew it before, right?
I knew
Okay.
that. I knew that was going to happen.
Exactly. Good. So this is an inner man. It has its own mouth. It speaks. It has its own ears. It listens. It has its own choice of words. Like you said, when you actually hear someone saying something, you don't
Mm.
hear everything they say. You hear what you want to hear from what they are saying,
Mm.
and you rearrange what they say. In fact, at times I've had conversations with people many times that after the conversation they would say, "So this is the conclusion," and I'd wonder, whenever did I say that?
Mm.
But then that is what they are ready to know where they are, so I let them hold on to it. When they are ready for the higher conclusion, they would come to it, or for the next conclusion, they would come to it. But the point is, there is that inner man within every one of us.
Mm.
Has hairs like our hairs. I mean, not this physical hairs as if curved this way, no. I mean, has hairs that actually function as hearing. Has eyes that function as seeing. And you could simultaneously see as you could hear and speak. Has mouth that could talk.
Mm.
All right, Veronica. Okay, has all these functions, and it could literally walk. If you would like to walk, it could literally walk around in a room. It could literally hold things, handle things, take things. It has the hands. That is the real you.
Mm.
This physical body isn't the real you. That is the real you. And this body carries it around in this world. It is wearing this body. It's just like your clothes. It wears this body just like your body is wearing the cloth on it. Okay. Now, whenever you say I, it is that part of you that you're talking about. But when we say this word I, because we apply it to many things in our lives, we're not so sure exactly who or what we mean. For instance, when you look at your shadow, you know it's your shadow, but at the same time you say, that is me. In some conversations with some people. That is me. Or maybe when you are having a fun time with your friends and then you guys are playing shadow, you say, this is me, see you. Okay, that's shadow. And when you sleep and you have a dream, whether it's a scary dream or it's a loving dream. So let's say it's a scary dream. Then you wake up suddenly in the middle of the night, maybe it's 2 o'clock in the morning. And you're like, oh my gosh, I just had this terrible dream. Maybe you have a partner or someone that you're sharing it with, or even if you're just contemplating it, you're like, what just happened to me? I was there and they came running and then I saw, wait, who's the I? You were just on the bed. The last 2 hours, maybe you slept 12 o'clock. The last 2 hours, your body was on the bed.
But you went somewhere.
But you went somewhere. And then wherever you were, all that you experienced there, you came back into this body and you're like, I was there and with I. Now, if someone were to do something to your body, you would say they did this to me and I'm going to avenge and I'm going to this and that. But now you are here saying that and you're not talking about your body. You're talking about an experience. So this I is within us and it is actually us. And also there is something peculiar about this I. It is that every single thing that has ever happened in our life, it is responsible for it. Absolutely, totally, 100%. Now, it is a dramatic being. He is very dramatic. You could imagine he's speaking and he's listening. Isn't that a drama?
I'm performing at the same time and creating at the same time. Wow.
Yeah. That is such a drama. He's listening to what he's saying. He's saying it and listening.
And performing it at the same time and also planning it at the same time.
Yeah, that's it, Eric. It's that I that I am talking about. That we are saying here is consciousness. And it is the one and only reality. Now, it plays many roles, it acts many parts, it is completely dramatic. It's, oh my, how much it loves stories. Oh, it loves stories. Because stories are creative. Stories have something in them. They have meaning. And the I is meaningful. In other words, it is full of meaning. Everyone wants to live a life of meaning. If that meaning is happiness, then they say they want to live for happiness. If that meaning is fulfillment, they want to say they live for fulfillment. If that meaning is self-discovery, they want to say they live for self-discovery.
Sorry.
But everyone wants to live
100 naira.
for meaning. And stories are meaningful. That's just one thing about stories. So it likes to be in a story, likes to act, likes to dramatize, to make all the drama. And you look at all the drama of life. Person is happy now, and then the next moment sad, and the next moment indifferent, and then the next moment super happy, and then sad, and then indifferent, and then super happy. Isn't that a drama? It's a drama. Okay. I hope we're beginning to really be in touch with ourselves. I want us to accept that there is this being in us. Not because I'm saying it, but because as I'm saying whatever I'm saying, you are actually able to experience it in you as you. That's it. If you're not, don't accept what I say. Don't take my words for it. But if you have that being in you that speaks and listens simultaneously, and then that sees things, and at the same time that feels things, and one bit of it that we're actually utilizing here is that takes every incomplete stories of life and completes them immediately. That is why we are doing what we're doing today. Those words I just said right now. So I'm going to say it again. That being in you that takes every incomplete story of life and gives it a completion, gives it an absolute final end. This is where it's going to end. That gives it that completion, that closure. If you have that being in you, well, we're talking about you. And that is the I, that is the imagination. Now, the imagination is not the same thing as what the imagination is doing. Imagination is not the images. Just in the same manner that your phone camera is not the pictures it is taken. The imagination creates the images and then sees the images and then acts the images because it's dramatic, remember. But it is not the images that it is creating. He is creating them. He is not them. He is creative entirely and completely. And finally, because creativity or the act of creation is that which God does, the imagination is God. It is what we are fond of calling God. He is spiritual. No one has seen him physically. No one has seen that eye that speaks in you physically. Not even you. Try and look at it. Try and look at yourself in your mind. The eye that you're speaking to, try and say it if you can. No one has seen it. Could you? Are you able to? The best you can do is to create an image of yourself that you're looking at. But the person that is looking is the person I say you should see.
Is the person what?
The person who's looking, that image you're seeing, those things you see in your mind, the person who's looking at them is the person I'm saying try to see. Could you? Mm-hmm. That is the imagination.
But the person who creates something that's beautiful and then take the camera and take a picture of it and then observe it and see its beauty, who is that?
Do you mean in the mind?
No, you create something.
Mm-hmm.
First you see it in the mind as you want it to be, and then you place it as you want it to be. Yes, because first you must see it in the mind as you want it. But speaking for myself,
Bless
I
you.
see it first in my mind. Thank you. I first see it in my mind as I would like it to be, and then I go and I perform the act, and then I place it where I see it's supposed to be, and then I just listen, and it tells me, okay, put that there and put that there, and then once I fix everything as the inner voice is telling me, then there's a satisfaction. Then I see the whole arrangement of it.
That is you. That is the imagination. That is the actual you.
That's the imagination. And then the I.
Yeah, the imagination is the same as the I. It's the same as the person you're referring to when you said, and then I then put that there, and then the inner voice the I is the same as the imagination that is saying, put that there, and then that puts that there.
Uh-huh.
He's acting all the parts. He's dramatic.
Oh, that's very interesting.
This is why we hear that God is one. The Lord our God is one. God is one. And then he's acting all the parts. He's playing all the roles. There is only one. There are no two. Who is acting all the parts and playing all the roles. Okay. So if we have some experience or some contemplation of
Hello.
Then we
Adeliri, it's breaking up. It's breaking up.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, now it's back. Now it's better. You were breaking up a few seconds ago. So we can hear exactly what you were saying.
I have something to
Hi.
ask.
Am I still connected? Am
Yeah,
I still
you're still
connected?
Yes, you
Yes.
are.
You are connected. All right. I thought Aisha wanted to ask a question, didn't you?
Yes, I want to. Yes, Adilari. First of all, are you there?
Okay, now I'm back.
Yes, Adilari. So, first of all, I would like to wish you very happy birthday. May God help you in all your endeavors of life. So,
Thank
yes, my question is that first you were talking about inner dialogue. And you said that inner dialogue is a reality and it is real. But as I experienced in life, inner dialogue is also the result of two identities which are present inside us. For example, someone came and slapped A slapped B, and even if that hurt is over, B will continue talking. How could this person slap me? This is something which is wrong happened to me, and all that is the inner dialogue, right? Or he could think that, oh, this slap was wonderful. It helped me open my eyes.
Mm.
It is to choose their inner dialogue. But
Mm.
in both cases, that isn't the reality. A person slapped, the pain is over. The self dialogue is creating the pain or hurt. Both are delusional. It is not present in this moment. It is past. It is delusional. What
But
is
you still,
present?
sorry.
Yes, yes. Please continue. Hey, you were saying something.
I said, but you still can remember it. It's like the body have a memory muscle. Like for example, as I have been a classical ballet dancer, my body never forgets that.
Mm-hmm.
It remembers exactly the positions to go into. It's there for the rest of my life.
Yes, that is definitely there. But if when a moment is over, and in next moment we are in a previous moment, that is a delusional state. Because when we're thinking of a moment which is past, it means you are in past, you're not in present. When you're in present, your time, energy, focus will not go into something which is already happened. It is past. In this moment, you have to attend or deal with what is happening right now with you. Life is happening with you vibrantly right now. You're breathing right now. You're sitting on a couch right now. Air is touching you right now. So many things are happening around you right now. So if you are in this moment, which is a reality, then you won't be in a delusion. But when you have an inner dialogue, that is a delusional state. That is something which I practiced. Um, that's why I just wanted to ask that, what do you feel about it? Because I feel that the way it is going on, it is just like we have to choose our own delusion. We can choose delusion, which makes us happy, or we can choose a delusion, which makes us sad. But we our own delusion, but at the end of the day, it is delusion. Delusion creates more delusion. But if suppose my journey, I meditate, my journey is towards salvation. So I may not choose any delusion because I want to be free from all the delusions. And the reality I am, the consciousness. I want to touch just that. I want to be in that, which is happening every moment. So, what is your take on it?
Okay. Thank you very much, Aishri, for that. That's elaborate. Now let's begin to get into this first. That there are no two, there is only one. It is very highly important to understand that any sense of two is an illusion. Any sense of 4, 8, or any other that is more than one is an illusion.
Yes.
Which
And a
is exactly
dialogue
what you're
always,
trying to say.
yes, and a dialogue always happens between two.
Good. Now, there's a difference between the inner dialogue and the sense of two. You could have an inner dialogue with yourself with the awareness that it is you who is speaking and you who is listening. Now, that is one. But you could think that it is you who's listening and some other person is speaking. You're not in control of it. Many people think that. For instance, many people think that it's the devil who is speaking to them. And then the angel speaks the next minute.
Yeah.
Okay. And some don't, maybe in other cultures, some people think it's some whispering from some spirits. Okay. There are different ways people look at this, and some other people think maybe past memories and so on and so forth. That is the illusion, to think that it is another being that is speaking. It is the same being that listens that is speaking, and the same being that is aware of listening and speaking. Remember, there is one who is playing all the roles. So, like you said, you have to choose which of the delusion, that's the word you use, which of the delusion would you would engage in. It's
Yes.
more of choosing which roles you want to play. Okay. But first, if there's what we are seeing here is actually, do I understand that I am playing the roles, or do I think I am the roles I'm playing? When I think I'm the roles I'm playing, then it's a delusion. No matter the role I play, it's a delusion. But when I understand that I am playing the role, then I know it's not a delusion. I know I'm acting it. And because I know I'm acting it, I can choose to act it very excellently. I can choose to act this character today, and tomorrow say, okay, I'd like to try out what 007 looks like. What would it be if I were James Bond?
I have a question,
Okay.
Adil.
Yeah, please ask.
Yes. Thank you for your explanation. But yes, the question is that when we are in a dialogue, we have created an identity. Every identity we create inside us, ultimately it is all delusion. It is not we. It is something which we've created, which comes the going. It is not a constant, number one.
Okay.
Number two, when there is a self-dialogue. For example, if a person has slapped me and I am in a self-dialogue, and right now I have to go and give a speech or I have to take a session, what is an asset of a human being? That is a focus. Focus makes anything manifest, anything happen vibrantly, and in means focus is everything. So when an inner dialogue will be happening, your focus, your attention, your energies will be divided in the present moment because you are divided in that. As we say, it is all about I, it is all about being one. When you're one, you're stronger, you go long. But when you divide, your focus, your attention, everything is divided because your energy is going to something which is delusional. So your energy cannot be focused in this moment, in the present moment.
Good.
Yeah, that's what I think. What do you
All
what do
right.
you feel about?
Thank you very much, Ayeshri. Now, I'll encourage all of us to begin to understand that there is a very wonderful difference between what is said and what is heard.
Mm.
What is heard passes through the filter of what I want to hear.
Mm.
What is said is independent of that. Everything is entirely subjective. Okay. Now, if we get that, then we would see, we say self-dialogue or inner dialogue or whatever we call it. We ask the question, who is speaking?
Mm.
However, whatever the person may be saying,
Mm.
or whichever angle the person may be speaking it from, or whatever they may be acting in that speaking,
Mm.
the actual question is, who is
Mm.
the speaker?
Mm.
And if we find out that the speaker is ourselves, because we call it self-dialogue,
Mm.
then we know that the speaker is the same person that I am who is
Mm.
listening. So this
Mm.
person is creating many roles for itself and then acting under those pretenses of those roles by what it says. But the fact that it speaks is that it hears.
Mm.
Do we understand that? That it speaks means that it hears. But whatever he says, delusional it is, it would always justify whatever he's saying. It would always have a way of rationalizing it. But that he speaks is what we're actually looking at here.
Yeah.
Shows that he is an identity, he is a being, and not a second or third identity.
Mm.
He is the first identity, but he's acting by whatever he says, you will know what he's acting as. You know what religion he has. But he's speaking. Okay, what if he doesn't speak anything? What if he's just listening to the silence and everything, as we do in meditation? But he's listening.
Mm.
He's also acting a role.
Mm.
Just listening. Now, it isn't what it listens to, but that it listens. That is what we are taking as reality. Now, whatever it's listening to is the delusion from it, but that it listens, but that it speaks, but that it sees, and that it actually feels. That is the reality. That is consciousness. Now, the delusion comes in, or any other role that it plays, comes in from what is he speaking? What would he like to speak? What is he pretending to be? What is he acting like? What is the drama? Okay, very important for us to understand that it isn't all he's saying, but that he speaks. And who is the person speaking? Maybe he's speaking about the memory from the past, but he is speaking about, he is not the memory from the past. is speaking about a memory that it takes to be from the past. Maybe he's speaking about the future, because that happens, and if that gets out of hand, it becomes worry. So he's speaking about the future. He's not the future. He's not the events of the future. He's speaking about the future. Maybe he's speaking of just the present. In which case, if he's speaking of just the present, it would be in alignment, and it wouldn't seem as if he's speaking at all, because just like I usually give an illustration there. If I had a speech and I am to speak right now, and then I'm concerned about the past would be, oh, did I prepare well? I have not read my speech. Where is this document? I have not even done this. How am I going to prepare this? How am I going to meet them? Okay, could be divided. Or maybe the future, and that would be, what are they going to think of me? How should I put it next? I think I should just maybe remove this word. Oh, I made a mistake. Are they going to talk about that in the end? Oh my, that is the future. How about is speaking in just the present? And the present is, what is it feeling in the present? What is it sensing in the present? What is it seeing in the present? And is in the present is only in giving a speech. So is speaking in the present means I would not really know. I am hearing it, because he's speaking exactly what is being in the present. But he is speaking. It is that he that we're talking about. It is that body, that being, and that is the imagination. Now, Neville has a way of talking about this. Think of a house. Okay, you probably, some of you are in your dwelling place right now, in your house, your apartment where you're going to sleep tonight. Some of you are maybe in the restaurant, in the coffee shop, maybe in your office or in school or somewhere. So we are in different places right now. Now, when you wake up in the morning, you set out from the house, you go to many other places around. Maybe you step out to visit here or there, visit a friend, get to the office, so on and so forth. Then you come back into the house where you stepped out from. Now, the house isn't you, but you are living in the house. But the house is not you. And there are many houses all over in the world. You could enter into any one of them. Perhaps they will welcome you, or they will send you out. That's another case. But you could enter into any one of them. Okay. Now, those houses are eternal. They are actually independent of man, eternal in themselves. Now, the houses that we're talking about here are the houses of the mind. The past memories, the future events, they are states. They are houses that the imagination enters into. So it could enter into the past, or it could enter into the future, it could enter into the present, it could enter into a happy house or a sad house. Whichever house he is entering into, they are all houses. He is dwelling in them. So that is exactly what we're talking about when we say maybe self-dialogue, is to let us have an idea that there is a being that we know, we are conscious of, that is speaking, because we actually hear him. He speaks to us, and he is us. He is not only our closest advisor, he is us. And he could speak anything, say anything. He could speak about the past and the future and all of that. But for instance, when he's speaking about the past and we say that is delusional, or maybe speaking about the future and we say that is out of alignment. But who is really out of alignment? We don't say he is out of alignment. We say I am out of alignment. I want to align myself. I want to be in the present. I want to be in the moment. So the he that has been saying all of this speech is still us. What he's saying is not us. What he's saying is like the house. And then he's saying it is the human being who enters into it and it goes out of it. So if we really, if you're having a grasp of that, and the more we really contemplate on the idea that there are no two, there is only one, that is very fundamental, very, very fundamental, that there is absolutely no two. There is only one. The further we contemplate that, the deeper we could go into seeing who we are and into seeing who this I is that we say is really ourselves and is the imagination. Okay. Let's move into the next step from there. Okay. Now we talked about purpose, values, and identity, and then okay, who am I? General identity, purpose, values, and finally strengths yesterday. So I'll give us another hint for us to know our values, and I'd like us to actually pick our pens right now. Pick your pen, or maybe if you'd like to use your laptop, your pad, whatever, just pick something that you could make a note of. Now, write list 1 to 5. Let's keep it at 5. 1 to 5. Now, I hope you're taking the steps as we're doing it. So now, as you've listed 1 to 5, write top 5 things you like doing, that you find yourself doing often. Whether you think it is good or bad, doesn't matter. Whether you think it is good or bad, doesn't matter. If you actually like, no worries, you could write it. Whether you think line is good or bad. And if you sing, write it. Whatever you think, whatever you like doing. So, 5 things you like. Shouldn't be difficult because there are 5 things you like doing. If it's been difficult to write it, maybe it's not something you like to do. All right. So I'll assume that we've written all 5, but at least we've got 3 down.
Go.
Okay. So now, if we've written all 5, let's get this down following it. Why do I like it? What do I get out of it? Why do I like it? Just not as a sentence, just something that is unique about it. Let's say you sing. So why do you like singing? And because you like harmony, you like vibration, you like combining sounds. So maybe you like lyrics, whatever it is that you like. Write why you like it. Just the word that captures why you like it. Something you instantly get out of it. 5 things you like doing and then why you like it. Now, you connect those 5 things and why you like them. Why you like them are the deeper values. And those 5 things are some of your values. So those are values. The things that you do, and especially the things you get from doing them. Why you like doing them. The things you get from doing them are your values that you want to see in many other things you do. Okay. So we could actually do the exercise again, but personally to be able to discover more and more of our values. But I hope we got the exercise clearly. We got it right. Please, if you got it right, you could just let me know by a hint. Then we could move on from here. Oh, are we still doing the exercise? Okay, good. Thank you, Leonie. All right. So we talked about purpose yesterday, and I gave us maybe a question we could use to find out. There are 2 things you could, 2 ways you could easily find out that I know. First is you ask yourself, honestly ask yourself, especially the strangers that I have met, what is the one thing that is so remarkable about me? They notice it. They won't forget me because they won't forget that thing about me. They won't forget me because of that one thing. Just the stranger, total stranger I just met right now, Kim, and then in maybe 5 minutes or less, they've noticed that one thing about me. What is that thing? So that is purpose. Another way to find out is 50, 100 years that you're dead. You happen to see your tombstone. You happen to see your grave. And then there's just a sentence that is written about on it, a sentence to capture how you've lived your whole life. What would that sentence be?
He was
That
the most
sentence.
kindest, loving person that gave so much to the world.
Thank you.
And that's for you. He gives so much of himself to the world.
I was thinking you were saying that about you, Eric.
Incredible, Ada Larry.
All right, thank you so much. That's so nice of you. I appreciate it. Thanks so much. Oh well, that's something that would certainly remember you for Eric. So, yeah, I believe you know the way you actually give this impression is something even strangers notice about you. So you could easily. I wanted to also say that, for instance, Eric, by thoughts maybe you should also reflect on and be sure of it yourself. So thanks, but that is purpose. You could really do the exercise. At times it's you can easily pick it, especially with that stranger thing, because you've met many strangers and some of them have become your friends. They've told you something that they can't forget about you. And if you take time to reflect, to be almost the same thing every stranger is saying. For me, my life purpose, a friend met me in 2014 and we're still friends till now. If you've seen me post the link of the books I've written between 2020 and now, is the one who actually asked me to share the books. He would like to have them and all of that. When he met me, he began asking me questions to understand more and to guide him and so on and so forth. And then after a conversation with him, he would say, "Thank you so much. That's amazing." I was teaching him. I didn't know it. And he would take whatever he learned and then make it his own in his own way, apply it and so on and so forth. Many years later on, he told me how much he was learning from time to time. I still didn't think it was purpose or anything. I was still busy trying to do a lot of things in my life. But later when I was reflecting, I realized that that was it. And he saw it from the moment we met. And he continued to relate with me that way until we're distant from one another right now. That's it. So that is purpose. Even strangers will see it in you because it's something you're doing without even knowing you're doing it, and you forget yourself when you're doing it. So, but because we are so busy trying to make other people's goals our own, we may not be doing it consciously. So we only do it unconsciously. That's why maybe using strangers to find out is asking yourself, what do strangers remember about me? It's a good way to find out. Then, of course, we talked about strengths. And I said my mentor was very useful in this place because she gave me a test that I did and I used to find out. And I reflected, I realized that, wow, this is really amazing. So, moving on real quick, I'll just use the next 20 minutes on this section. And I said earlier that something that is significant about what we are doing now is that this dramatic being in us that we are likes to complete every incomplete story, right? I said that earlier, right? Okay. Now, the tensions of life come from this dramatic being completing stories by incomplete stories. That's where tensions of life come from. It tries to complete, I'll break that down. It tries to complete stories by incomplete stories. That is where the tensions that we have in our life, that is where it comes from. That is where the delusions come from. For instance, The example that Aisha gave earlier was fantastic. Remember, the person who is speaking, that self-dialogue means self, dialogue with self. Now, that self that is speaking to self is talking about how she slapped me. Good. Now, I could just be in the moment of that slap. Oh, she slapped me. Nothing before it, nothing after it, just slap. And then let it go after that. Ayushri, that is alignment, right? Is that? Please unmute yourself.
He's not there, Adeliri.
Oh, okay. All right. But anyways, that's what a lot of us we call alignment. Just the slap, and then we just contemplate. Oh, she slapped me. Nothing more, nothing less. Just slap and let it go, and that is the end. End of story. That is alignment. Now let's look at an incomplete story. Oh, she's back. Ayushri, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
All
I
right.
had some network issue. Yes.
Oh, you're welcome. So anyways, we could really be grateful for this technology that allows us to communicate. I mean, this is from India, Nigeria, Sweden, and in Sweden we have people from
Yes, yes.
Trinidad and Tobago, we have from Guyana, we have from Antigua. This is just amazing. Okay, so Ayushri was saying that so let's take that story of the slap, and she slaps me. What would be alignment if I was in alignment? No conflicts, no delusion. What would be my response to that?
You're asking me?
Yes, I'm asking. Like, what would be the
Okay.
response of I to that, of consciousness?
If suppose I have if suppose I've given you a child slap, okay? So the response of your consciousness will be, okay, it happened, it's just another event. You have been feeded that getting a slap is something that's A is trying to hurt B. I am trying to hurt you. That is a conditioning which has been done to you while growing up.
Good. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
So because of that conditioning, and that conditioning, a group of conditioning creates an identity. You create an identity that this person cannot be slapped. Slapped is something which is bad. A person is trying to hurt. Hurt means this thing, which creates this effect in the body. So this is the conditioning which has been done to you while you're. So if you're getting a child slap, you feel, oh my God, what has she done to me? And all that. But otherwise, it will be just like air is touching you right now. You're breathing. It is just another event. That's it. There will be no dialogue. You'll be just looking at things as it is without
Thank you.
all the drama
Oh.
inside the mind.
Okay, all right. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. Thank you so much for that. Leonie, do you want to say something?
You're welcome.
No, I thought Eric, did he mute himself?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mute myself because Anton was laughing so much, but I would like to say something.
Okay.
Okay, I read in Neville's work that the drama that happened in our lives, and from time to time we can really bring it back and live it again. And I saw myself actually doing that, and it did not give me a very good feeling at all. It took me back to a place where I did not like that feeling. So I made it a commitment that I'm going to erase this thing from my life. I don't want to think about it. I want to think about what will bring me joy and happiness and love. And I can focus on what I really want in life rather than a drama that happened that is all gone now. And it's gone. It's gone. It's gone. So then I was reading Neville's work, and it says that you can actually go back and rewrite it as you would have liked it to be, you would have liked it to happen. And I starting doing this to rewrite it as I wanted it, I wish it would have happened. And it put me in a very nice feeling actually, because um, everything that happens to us, it happened to us for a reason. Nothing is happening to us just because it's happening to us. It's happening for a reason. And whatever that is, if it's an unpleasant feeling and we experience it, we look for the good in it. What is the good in there that I can use from this? What is this story really telling me about my life that will make me more aware of doing things in a different way? You understand?
Good.
So my experiences with my drama, that I was part of it, because if I wasn't part of it, it wouldn't be part of me. I contribute to the drama as well, because I respond to the drama that was happening in my life. So therefore, instead of prolonging and carrying on this drama for the rest of my life, I prefer to reshape it in the way I would have let it, the way I would have wanted to be. Because, you know, for example, my dad told me certain words, and it's his story. I can't hold on to that story. It's his story. So I just look at him and I just say, okay, fine. And I just let it go. And I don't hold on to that, because if I hold on to that, I would continuously blaming somebody who is gone. And did he really mean what he said, or he said it out of anger? You understand? So
All right.
what I work with is changing the way I see the past of my life, rewrite it as I would like it to be, and
Thank
just
you
let it
very
go.
much, Eric. Thanks so much. Thank you, Aishri, and thank you, Eric. Appreciate you
You're
both.
welcome.
Yeah. Now, we have a really important issue at hand here, because this is central to everything that we are all about as humans, and everything we are all about as spiritual beings. First thing we want to understand is that we are consciousness. I am consciousness. That's who I am. Not like I am something called consciousness. I am is consciousness. Okay? That's the first thing we want to understand about ourselves. Now, the second thing is that, okay, let me just add it there. And this is the same thing as the imagination. Okay? Very important. So, did you notice something? Every time I've said the imagination, you probably are thinking of something inside of you that you are using, or something inside of you that that is creating and is not seeing this environment you're in right now. Probably. If you've been on this study for some time, you might be thinking differently. Now, when I say consciousness, for some of us, we might be thinking, oh, my soul essence, like that essence inside of me, something that I am deep in me. Okay. When I say I am, some of us might actually have recognized, oh, the name of God. Some of us might, what does that mean? Okay. First is look at this. This set of letters, these words have had different stories, different meanings. Story is meaning. Different stories, different meanings to all of us. I mentioned earlier that the imagination likes the drama, because by that drama, it is doing something, it is creating a meaning. And everyone loves to have a meaning of something. ultimately, everyone wants to live a meaningful life. If that meaning is happiness, if they want life to have meant happiness for them, then they want to live a happy life. If they want life to have meant success for them, then they want to live a successful life. If they want life to have meant effortlessness for them, then they want to live an effortless life. Everyone is living for meaning. Okay. Why? Because the imagination is dramatic. It imagines. That means it creates stories. It is creating fantasies. Consciousness knows. That's what consciousness means. To be conscious of means to know. So consciousness means knowing. It knows. So the consciousness is aware of something. That's why we also call it awareness. Is aware. Now, I am means being, means turning out. That is to give us a sense of something being, is turning out, being, I am, not becoming, but being, I am, consciousness, knowing, imagination, fantasizing. So all of this imagination, consciousness, I am, it is out picturing something. Are we following? Out picturing something. What is that thing that it is out picturing? Story. It is out picturing a story. It is in that story that we say there is meaning. Now, we say that all tensions of life come from something. Tensions only mean incomplete stories plus incomplete stories. That's tensions. And then relief simply means incomplete stories plus what? Complete stories. That's relief. Tension is incomplete stories with incomplete stories. Relief is incomplete stories with complete stories. The two of them actually have meanings. One has meaning of vanity, emptiness, and so on and so forth. Whether we run away from it or we embrace it, the meaning generally is vanity. Meaning, vanity. Okay. Now, the meaning of incomplete stories with complete stories is use. Okay? Meaning use or creativity. The act of creation. Are we following? Now, we have this illustration ongoing. A slap. I have a slap. I receive a slap on my face. If I have a self-dialogue with myself, take note of that. It's a self-dialogue still. That it's just a slap. No big deal. Just another event in the person. And move on. It ends right there. I'm in the moment. Now it's not a slap again. So I'm enjoying what is happening right now because then it was a slap and then it's just a slap and then let it go. And I'm right now, maybe I'm taking a cup of coffee. So it's a coffee. Oh, it's a cup of coffee. And then let that go. And then because of Veronica and she likes tea. So and then a cup of tea next. And then yeah, it's just a cup of tea. And then let that go. Now, you see, what is happening there is there are no tensions. There is only relief. I feel relieved, effortless in all of what is happening. Why? Because I'm completing every of the story that is happening with the story itself, like a fulfillment in that story itself. I'm completing it. That is relief. What happens when there are tensions? Ayushri gave us a brilliant example of that. She gave us a brilliant example of alignment. Is it happens, and then that's just the end of story. Tension, she slapped me. Oh my gosh. So that is an incomplete story. She slapped me. Now, could I just make it complete and say, oh, she slapped me. It's a slap, no big deal, an event, end of story. Or would I say, Oh, she slapped me. So she wants to hurt me. What kind of hurt would she hurt me? Do you see? It's an incomplete story. She wants to hurt me. What kind of hurt would she hurt me? How could I prevent the hurt? What am I going to do back to her so that she would know that she slapped me, she couldn't do that, I feel hurt, and I'm going to hurt her back? Incomplete stories. Now, what happens from there? Tensions. And ultimately, if you meet this person and ask them, what is the meaning of life? They will tell you, life is vanity. They may be running from these tensions. They may be running away from these tensions. They may be embracing these tensions, facing it and acting courageously with hard work. We call it hard work. They may be running away from it, but they are creating the tensions. Now, if they take the incomplete stories, she slapped me, and then they complete it with, that's it. It's just an event. Now, let me move on to the next. They use the same story and make a completion in that same story, and then that becomes creation. The imagination is consciousness. It is I am. It is awareness. And as such, it is creator. And creator creates. Imagination imagines. So what is the meaning that our imagination is imagining? What is the story we are creating? Eric was very open with us, said, for instance, it goes back into this past stories, never really mentioned this because it's a very important thing that we should all find ourselves doing. So it goes back into that moment that let us say it is a slap, and then we've been taught that if you are slapped, then it is going to be a hurtful situation and something bad is happening, means you bad. She's going to do you worse and she's evil. Okay, that's the incomplete story because the end of that story feels like, okay, there's a lot of tension here. What would she do next to me? Oh, this and that, and so on and so forth. So that doesn't feel good. And Eric says he goes back into that and he says it doesn't feel good. And then he goes on to rewrite it. When he's rewriting it, what is he doing? He's making a complete story, a story that comes with a sense of relief. There is an end to this drama. So after the drama that I start is ended, what is left? After I have acted all of the roles that I have come to play, who will be left? I'll no longer be the actor after I've acted all the roles. So relief makes us come back to our own being. So we take a story in our life and it is incomplete. Then what causes the tension in us is that we add more incomplete stories to it. Someone does something, and before we know it, we find 10,000 other things that could have happened that would maybe be worse than what they've done. And then 11,000 things we can do to prevent it, and 12,000 ways by which this thing wouldn't happen or that wouldn't work out, so that we could still have more and more stories going. So we have a lot of incomplete stories and such, a lot of tensions. It's just that. Nothing more, nothing less. So our job, our role with our lives is to create complete stories. Example one, you think of your life as it is going right now, and then maybe you think of what it is going to be in the next 5 years or 4 years or something. And then you wonder, God, where would I be? What would happen? This and that, and so on and so forth. A lot of tensions, building incomplete stories, more tensions that way, incomplete stories, and then more tensions that way, and ultimately a sense of vanity. Or you look at this life in the next 5 years, and then you actually give it a relief, a sense of completion, as if you did everything, and in the end, everything worked out perfectly well, just as you wanted, there would be relief. It would be a complete story. You would feel creative. There would be no effort, and you would trust yourself. You would have self-confidence. Are we following how these things are? Because I'm actually as generic as possible so that each one of us could fit in our personal stories and relate. Okay. So I don't want you to be taking my examples. I want you to actually relate in your examples, because you're doing that, probably doing that right now. So just relate in your examples. Something happens, and no matter what that thing is that has happened, you begin to either form incomplete stories or complete stories with it. An incomplete story means there is still a longing, a desire that is unsatisfied, a want. And so that builds more tensions. A complete story means you find a sense of satisfaction. And I said that is why we are here. So,
Anyway, I have some doubts.
when we look at these areas of our lives that we have here, we have all these various areas of our life here.
Adelaire, you're breaking up.
We cannot hear you.
Yeah?
Yeah, you're back now.
Okay. All ears listening. Yes. Hear me now?
Would you speak again? No.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, yeah. Now I can hear you.
Yes. Adilary, I have a question.
Okay.
Yes. I want to ask you that, for instance, there is an event like slapping event. You slapped me, and at that time, I feel intensely hurt. And now I give myself a complete story. Intensely hurt, I've already felt, but I give myself a complete story that it's okay, it is coming in my life for teaching me something, and it's all right, and it's okay, it's just a slap, and I need to move on, and I move on. Now you tell me, um, will that be a relief situation?
Excellent. Thank you. Now, when we say a complete story, we
Mhm.
are not meaning saying some things to ourselves. We're actually
Mm.
saying reimagining the event.
Suppose
Something
that
similar to,
happened right now.
yeah, it happened
Yeah.
right now. So what I do immediately, if I were the one, it happened right now. What I would do immediately is to reimagine what happened as if it never happened, and we were just shaking hands instead of slapping.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because shaking hands sounds like better relief for me than just slapping. So I would rather that we shake hands than that we slap. Because here's what happens. Uh, if I imaginatively accept the slap as the real story, Take note, I said imaginatively because the slap happens to my body. But then it is the self-dialogue that makes the meaning out of what happens, not the body itself.
Yeah.
Good. So there is a difference between the event that happens and the meaning that consciousness makes of it.
Yes.
Okay. So I take my consciousness and shift it from the slap itself, and I will self-deceive myself. Self-deceive myself as if it was
Sorry to interrupt you. You've forgotten to record it.
Oh no, it's live. It's on
Okay. Yeah.
on YouTube. Yeah. So I'll self-deceive myself as if it was a handshake or maybe a hug rather than a slap. Now, what happens is this: if you take a minute to reflect on it, you'll find that every story that has happened to us has repeated itself in a way or another in our life. After all.
I have one more question.
Okay.
If suppose you slapped me, I am trying to revisit the same moment and substituting or making a new assumption, or you saying a complete story by substituting it with a shake hand. But at the end of the day, again, I'm rejecting the slap. That's why I need to substitute it. The slap in my dictionary is again a bad thing. So I'm working with the substitution.
Thank
How
you.
about acceptance? Yeah.
Good. There are two things here. We're looking at acceptance or revision. Now, why is acceptance not going to be the deal? Why is revision the deal? Not because you can do acceptance. You're God. Everyone is entirely in control of what they want. But you've got to decide for yourself, is the slap the event you want? If the slap is something you want, something you're okay with, you could accept it. Remember, I said something just before you asked this question. I said every story that has happened to us happens again. Okay. Now, I have a friend, for instance, who told me he's had issues with finances, and it has first is workers, people who works with him, they duped him, scammed him of some money. Then later on, his brothers scammed him of some money, and then later on, another friend scammed him of some money. Then a total stranger scammed him of some money. He's repeating the same events. Okay, in different times in his life. Okay, with different people, but the same story.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Adelari, but my question is still the same. When we are revisiting the same moment, the same event, and we are working with a substitution method, or we are just completing it a story with some another story, we're trying to complete it. We are operating from rejection towards the first story. We are operating by lack and rejection towards first story rather than acceptance, abundance, and love. What do you feel about this?
Thank you. Okay. Remember what I said earlier at first, and it is this. If you are completely at home with that event, you don't have to revise it. You don't have to substitute it. If you're okay with it, you could accept it. What happens with things that we accept is that they happen again in our experience. We just don't see them happening again.
Yeah.
The word again. But they happen again in our experience. That is the point. So if you're okay with it, if it is something you are completely at home with, that means you have a sense of relief. You don't revise what you have a relief with. You don't think it is bad. You don't even try to think about it or bother about it. You accept it.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say, that it's not a complete story which will stop the event coming again. I'm sorry, I may differ in this. I'm talking by my experience that when a event comes and you give yourself a story to it, complete story, it is going to come again, because every event, every mess comes in our life for a message. Unless and until we learn that message, it is going to repeat in some another form, like you were giving the example of your dear friend. So, what is the best way to deal with a mess or an event or a slap? What is the best way? It is the greater acceptance, and it is the knowing of I and knowing of a creator. And every event is coming us to just make us meet ourselves, or to just make us be aware of our true self. So how about we complete it by pure awareness, by pure self-realization? That is a complete story. I feel I could be wrong, but I feel that awareness completes a story rather than substitution, because that's where we are operating from, with a rejection. What do you feel about this, Ajala?
All right. Um, this would be my last comment on it. And my last comment on it will be this. If that event is something that you're okay with it happening again and again, you could completely accept it. Take note of the word happening again and again. That's the emphasis. The things that we think are pasts, even by acceptance, come again, because acceptance means we assume it is true. That's acceptance. Now, assumptions create reality. Assumptions is where our imagination is focused. The imagination imagines, creation creates, the creator creates, awareness is aware, consciousness is conscious. So, if that slap is that which I'm okay with it happening again and again, accept it. But if that slap is that which I'm not okay with it happening again and again, then I revise it. Now, what does revision mean? Revision is actually acceptance of something other than what has happened to have been the truth. It is still acceptance, but not the acceptance of what has happened. It is the acceptance of something other than what has happened. What happens when we accept the things that happen without being consciously aware? If I want this to happen again and again, is we are assuming that the experiences we have in this physical body, on this physical plane, is the actual reality. But this, my dear friends, isn't anything close to the reality. This is the shadows. This is a projection of what is happening in consciousness, what we're experiencing right here. So, if something happens on this physical plane and you're not okay with it, you don't have to accept it as final. You could accept that which you imagine as final. It is still acceptance, but what you imagine is what you're accepting as final. When you accept things that happen here as final, even when you don't like them, then you are showing, or you are saying, that what happens there is creating reality for you rather than you creating reality for it. In other words, the things that are happening are God. But when you accept that which you want as your ideal, you are choosing what you create. So let's say there's a slap, and I don't want a slap in the future, but a slap has happened on this plane. Now, I don't go back into that past here and say, I'll fight it. Okay. I don't go back and say I'll fight it and all of that. No. I'll reimagine that which I want as if that was what happened. Now, by reimagining that which I want as if that was what happened, I focus my awareness on that ideal. I used the word earlier. I said, if I could self-deceive myself, it is self-deception. This means I trick myself as if what happened actually didn't happen. That means I don't even think it was a slap again. In fact, by the time I come back to this physical reality, I would feel as if the slap never happened. And if someone told me the slap happened, I could say, that's a joke. Okay. Then
Don't you
my
think that's
awareness.
ignorance?
Hmm?
Don't you think that's ignorance?
Okay. We have imagination. Okay. Imagination imagines. And we started out with a foundation. And the foundation is this. All that I am saying right now is not equal to all that you hear me say. Right? All that I am saying right now is never equal to all that you hear me say. For as I'm saying all that I'm saying, you're going to say them to yourself in your own words. You're going to hear them in your own terms. You will see them from your place of imagining, meaning you are imagining into what I'm saying. Why?
You're
Your
talking about
imagination.
perception.
You
I
said?
will receive it with my, you're talking about perception. I will receive it with my own perception.
Excellent. Now you receive with your perception, but what is really happening when you receive with your perception is you're imagining what I'm saying. Good. Same goes for what you taste. You reimagine it. Everything passes through imagination before you accept it as final. Okay. Meaning the events that happen are not the final thing. It is what we imagine to have happened that is final. We are always accepting. But the question is, what are we accepting? Are we accepting life as is? Are we accepting circumstances? Are we accepting situations? When we accept all of that, that is not a problem. But either of two things, if what you're accepting is what you want, good, go ahead, accept it. Don't question it, take it and accept it as is. But if that is not what you want, then revise it. Revision means you are accepting something else as is rather than what happened. Now, why are you not accepting what happened? Because you understand that the physical events that are happening here are not the reality. If you don't understand that, if you think the things that are happening here are the reality, then you would only accept them as final. Nothing could be done about them. Past, present, and future is an illusion. The idea that events are happening in the way we see them is an illusion. The fact that something causes that is an illusion. The only thing that is true is that which is imaginal. Imagination creates reality.
I want to say something to you, right?
Yeah?
May I?
Yeah.
Okay. As you said, imagination, whatever is happening outside isn't reality. Whatever in a conversation we are having is also delusion. The reality is awareness of I, or we are a creator. That is the only reality. So how about you deal with a mess or with an event or with an inner dialogue with awareness rather than dealing with a delusion is again going to make you end in delusion. That is a fact.
All right.
What do you feel about
Tomorrow we're going to have better conversation about this later personally. Okay?
Sure, Adilere.
All right, Aishu.
Yes.
Yeah. So finally, let's go through these different areas of our life and design what we want out of them. So, for instance, spirituality would be the ideal for you in the next 5 years. It's not something that would you're expecting to achieve in the next 2 years or in the next 1 year, but 5 years and more, 5 years and between 5 years and 10 years from now, it goes in various ways. When it comes to health, when it shapes parenting, financial, business, and career, character, contribution, education, quality of life. Yeah, I just got back. Oh, yeah, we know how it works. It's all right. A time is coming that would have much better than this. Okay, so we have these different areas, and like I said, the education could actually mean personal development or self development for you. So depends on which areas are relevant to you. If spirituality is relevant to you right now, good. I think I added that. Okay, do you have to include all these areas in your own card? No, only what matters to you. In fact, you could have areas that are not on this list, but are important to you based on your self-created identity and values. You could have religious. It's not the same as spirituality, but if it's an important area for you, you could put it there. You could have culture. It's not the same thing as social relationships, but it's important for you, you could put it there. Intergenerational wealth is not essentially the same thing as financial. You could have it there if it interests you. So, depending on the area of life that matters to you right now, go ahead and design them. You design your life. You give yourself a stable ground. Create something mind-blowing. Can you hear me?
Not very
Can you
well.
hear me better now?
Now, yes.
So create something that is magnificent, that is extraordinary, that would boost 5 years. Think in terms of taking quantum leaps, taking huge leaps.
You're gone again.
Okay.
Oh.
So think in terms of taking mind-blowing leaps, not making gradual progress. So your goals for this category are going to be wow. Yes, but okay. So can you hear me now? So that I can know that it's maybe
It's better. Can you say something? No, we can't hear you.
All right. Thank you, Veronica. Can you hear me?
Yeah, just in and
I
out.
think there's hello. If it's stable now, let me know.
Stay there.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, right where you are, stay there. Probably we can hear you now.
All right.
Don't move.
Okay. Okay. Please.
Yeah, free.
Okay. All right. So we have these categories, and I've explained them right here so that if you go through them, we have spirituality, and I try to pinpoint some areas for spirituality that might matter, and so that we could have some clarity in setting goals there. Intellectuality as well. You could actually sum it up into maybe using 20 or 30% of your mind instead of 10%, or you could specify you'd like to have sharper perception, you'd like to be able to rethink your beliefs in this way and that way. Emotional also comes in. So how would you like to be with yourself? And how would you like to be around others? What's the vibration you want to be in? That's emotional. Then else, physically, how do you want to look? And then mentally, how do you want to feel? Then love and marriage. How did I put? I put so much. Okay. So I think I tried to explain how I got around this, because this is something you have to do with someone. So you define what you want in relevant areas of your life that would involve you and your partner. And then you find out what they want as well, in case it aligns, in case there's a way both of you could work together. And if there isn't a ground for both of you to work together, better to not get into it than to get into it and be too late. So that's love and marriage. Really important that we don't compromise when it comes to social goals like love and marriage, like social relationships. Don't compromise. Don't change yourself. Change your habits, not your ideals, not the way you would like yourself to live, but the way you've been doing things could change. Your beliefs could change. Your habits could change, but not the way you'd like to live. So same goes for social relationships. Parenting also includes grandparenting, great-grandparenting, uncling, auntie. Yeah. So you choose how you like to be there in that area. Financial. I think I tried to illustrate 3 areas for financial here. We have net worth. That's what a lot of people, we have income. A lot of people just want to earn $1 million. Okay, well, what happens if you earn $1 million? Does that mean you would keep it? Most of us have heard stories of people who earn a lot of money, but then they end up broke. Why? Okay, people then move on to, I have a net worth of $1 million. What happens if you have a net worth of $1 million? Does that mean you get to be rich? Okay. You could actually have a net worth and still be broke. And you could have all the money and not have a net worth. So where's the point of balance? You have a cash flow. That means your assets are paying you steady income regularly. Okay. So that is cash flow. So you could set goals on those different areas. Same goes for business. Do you want to be top 20, top 1? Is it going to be regionally or in the world? Your career, you want to ask yourself first before you even start setting maybe top 20 or top 1. Would it be relevant in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years? Are there areas of growth, areas for growth for you? If you want to take quantum leaps, if you like steady growth, if you like quantum leaps, if you like security, based on your values, what could your career or your business provide you the things you want? I should have mentioned. Okay, so I'm mentioning now. That's good. That all these areas, as you're setting them, you want to set them based on your values. Remember, values are things you already enjoy from the things you do. You like them. That's why you do those things you do. So you don't want to keep doing the same things because your habits will change, your beliefs will change, you're growing, you're expanding. But you want to still keep enjoying what makes life lovely and fantastic and fun for you. could be challenge. Maybe your sense of challenge before was competing with other people. Then you might turn it to competing with yourself. Okay. You're still having challenge, you're still having competition. Those are values, you like them. They make you feel lovely with yourself, but you don't have to be doing it the old way. You could do it in a new way. That's why we have goals here. Goals help you to push yourself beyond where you've reached so that you can do it in new ways. Same goes for character and contribution. Let me mention on character. You don't have to be everything for everyone unless you want to be everything for everyone. There's a difference. I have to be, and then I want to be. Okay? So if you'd like to be, I think an illustration here is you would like to be courageous but not timely. Okay, then don't give a damn about time, but give every damn about being courageous. Okay. So if you like to be courageous and timely but not courageous, then don't try being courageous, but go ahead and be timely beyond you've ever been. But if you would like to be timely and courageous, then do both. But make sure it is what you want to be, not what you have to be. Okay? Because what you have to be looks like environment and circumstances are forcing you into it. What you want to be, you're choosing it. Contribution. What would you like to contribute to your society? What would you like to lay down? Is it you want to build a foundation? You want to volunteer for this? Would it be in person? Would it be with your skills? Would it be with your resources? Design what you want for this. Sex and romance. You get to, if you have a partner, you are looking for marriage or you are married, then this is something you want to discuss with your partner as well. You decide, actually, this is the kind of sexual lifestyle I want. Then you discuss with your partner. Find out what they want. See if it fits, if it works, and if not, how could you both work it out? But one thing that is important in every goal you're setting is that do not compromise. It's important. Okay? Do not compromise. Rather, like Ayeshri said, acceptance. Accept yourself and accept your partners and your friends, your relatives, depending on which area is relevant. And if after you accept, you see that you could only roll with them for 20% of the time, then roll with them 20% of the time. If you see you could only spend 1% of your time with them, spend 1% of your time. If you have to spend 80% of your time with them, if that is what you find you would be able to do, then do it. But then don't compromise. So education could include self-development as well. Then quality of life is like your outputs. How do you want your life to be? If you achieved all of your goals, what are the things you would get out of it? What kind of house would you like to live in? What kind of lifestyle do you want to have? I think that's another way of saying lifestyle. Yeah, generally. So then life vision is sort of, what's your vision for your life? What's the meaning that you're putting in for your life? What do you want, even after you've achieved all of these goals, something that you still then further on, you carry on from there. That is your life vision. So, and finally, dying. How would you like to die? I was with a friend and he just mentioned something about some people dying. So he mentioned something like they died recklessly, as if they just like that. And he was talking about how fair it is. Oh, how that good people seem to die quick and then bad people seem to live long. And then I was like, oh, okay. Except you know what they are thinking in their minds. Because you could actually see a person who is so good in every area of life, but is completely terrified about death. Or so good, but they are thinking of how people are dying and how they're going to die and die and die. So then I thought about it myself and I realized, okay, maybe it's good to actually decide how exactly I want to die. And then anytime I get to think about death, I think of how I'd like to die. Imagination creates reality. So I think of when I want to die, then I have peace of mind. I'm not dying now. And okay, but I think the lesson is simple. That at least face this and decide it once and for all, then you could get get going with what is important right now, which is concentrating with what you have to do with your life right now. Then this is something Neville said. Neville said, if I can sit down and deliberately write out if I must, and say I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do the other. And then in my imagination, I do it and give it the tones of reality. And having done it, I simply wait for the result. I go on about my father's business and imagining more lovely things and still more lovely things. And then when it comes up, I know all things must be after that kind. That is the law of life. All things bring forth after their kind. So it can't be something that I have planted and something different comes up. So if I plant security by assuming that I am secure, that is a relative term I grant you to me, but I can start being secure in time comes. So that is why this is really interesting. I mean, I'm not saying, okay, you have to be this spiritual, or I'm not saying begin to use 40% of your intellectual. If you don't want to use 40% of your intellectual, then bullshit it. But if you want to use, if you want to be a millionaire, and I'm saying, come and be a billionaire, could bullshit that. You don't want to be a billionaire, you want to be a millionaire. Okay. And if you like to die, say 80 years old, and I'm saying, come and die 90 years old. Oh, come on, take your 10 years and give that shit out to someone else. Okay, that's the idea. You're getting to choose. If you'd like to have 10 children, and I'm saying, hey, stay at 2, and you could just rubbish my suggestion and go for what you really want and design your life. So that is why this is significant. You're getting to design what you want, and you're okay. The idea of completing the story is you're looking at, yeah, sure, okay, all right. I think I should, oh, yeah. And you're looking at, this is what I want in the next 5 years. I'm looking at, so you go to, this is how I did mine particularly. I imagined it was my birthday for 2026. This was in 2021 when I designed it. So it was my birthday for 2026. How would I like my birthday to be? Where would I like to wake up? Who would I like to greet me? How would I like them to greet me? What would I like to feel I have got? What would I like to feel I have done? What would I like to feel I've achieved? It's not because I'm thinking of it, but because people are actually saying it and they're happy for it genuinely. Then in this area of life, in that area of life, that was how I began to put all of these things together. So I literally go into that 2026, leave it, then write a story of it, and then take different parts and put them into my life card. Then I design it, and now I use it to go back into that 2016 setting. So finally, just 1 minute, is inner conversation. So what I do with this inner conversation is simple. I would suggest that you please go through this text. So what I do with it is that all of these elements on the life card, I don't look at them from time to time. Oh, that is... Okay, all these elements, I don't look at them from time to time. No, I only get to, before I used to see only quality of life. That's the only thing I used to see. But now I only see my inner conversation. And I fold the card in such a way that that is the only thing I get to see every day. The rest, I don't see them. Only on occasions when I choose to look at them and then relieve that, what it feels like this or that. So that inner conversation represents that everything is achieved for me. My inner conversation reads something like this. Isn't it wonderful that you are this, this, and that, and here is your this, this, and that? Just that question. So at times I imagine a reporter is asking me that question. Some other times I imagine a friend is asking me that question. This morning, someone has actually asked me a similar question, but I've not even gone, I still have 4 years between now and 2026, but someone has asked me that exact question this morning. So I only look that inner conversation and use it to relieve what it feels like to have achieved my life goals. So there we go. Thank you very much. Veronica, please listen.
Yeah, I would just like to say thank you. for today. Very, very interesting, everybody. And if you guys that's online, do you feel like singing for Adelaide today? Happy birthday. So we put on our microphones and end this with a jolly happy birthday song. What do you say? Microphones on? Are you with me? Hello.
Hey, Veronica, don't worry, I'm with you. You're in the
All
studio
right.
with me.
Good. Asking if the others are with me to sing happy birthday. Well, I'll sing for you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Adeline. Happy birthday to you. You. Have a great happy birthday.
Oh, thank you so much, Veronica. I'm so grateful.
You're welcome.
That was amazing. That sounded like Pollyanna.
Yeah, it was Pollyanna.
Have you been going around telling people what is good in it?
Yeah, happy birthday.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're so welcome. Thanks for sharing with us today.
Yep. You're welcome. And I really appreciate, and I'm honored that all of you are here today to celebrate with me, and also to of course find out about Lifecard and see if you could do anything about it and then what you could do with it for yourself. Thank you so much. So I look forward to celebrating every person's birthday also. Okay. Have a great day and a great year, everyone. Thanks a lot, Veronica. I appreciate it. And thank you, Ayushri. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Joy. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye.